Welcome to the Rising Consciousness Show, 20 minutes of soulful insights and powerful tools to elevate your life experience and create with higher clarity, intention, and vision. I'm Tara Antler, intuitive healer and soul coach.
And I'm King Gabriel, spiritual teacher and practitioner. And we are the co-founders of Ascension Academy of Life,
a global center for spiritual growth, intuitive healing, and soul alignment.
Get ready to blast off.
All right, welcome back, everybody. I'm so excited for another awesome high vibrational conversation where we are harmonizing our lives and our relationships and everything that stems from that. Because, you know, when we start to harmonize ourselves, our body, our mind, our relationships, the ripples go out and it affects every single thing, and all of life starts to become very beautiful. And speaking of beautiful, I have a very beautiful guest here with me who actually just got back from Mexico. We were literally crossing each other, not quite in the air, but crossing each other. We were headed down and she was heading back home. And Gen Stoney, I welcome you. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you today.
Yes. Tara, oh my gosh, I am so grateful to be here and so excited for this. So thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you. Yes. And Jen is we're going to have a very fun, intuitive, flowing conversation about sacred sexuality, sacred sobriety, really stepping into the goddess and the amazing beings that we all are. And so, Jen, can you tell everybody a little bit about who you are and what you're up to in the world?
Yes. So my name's Gen Stoney, and I help successful, sober women truly embrace and unlock their sacred, sober sexuality. And when I say sober, it means somebody who's willing to let go of those devices to step into this. So you don't necessarily have to be a sober woman who's like, I'm in recovery, I'm sober all the time. It's some of these women I work with, they're sober curious, or they're looking to be sober for the next few months to step into this work fully, right? Like, you know, when you're stepping into this type of work to really take those mind altering substances and release them to really open up your mind's eyes and your heart it's powerful. So
it is powerful. And you just got back from a retreat down in Mexico. Yes. Jen and I were chatting about it. And so tell everybody a little bit about the power of that retreat, because I could imagine when you come together as a group who are all in that similar vibration and wanting to walk a similar path in that way, I imagine the energy must have been off the charts.
It was amazing. So like, just to give you an idea, I flew in and I'm sitting here the second time ever flying into Mexico, and I'm by myself. So I'm like, my friend who was supposed to come couldn't come. So here I am by myself. My mom's telling me like I'm going to get kidnapped, right? So anyways, and I'm sitting here like I'm like in Bliss City. I'm so excited. And I'm standing in the transportation area. There's about 100 people around. And I look and I pinpoint this one woman. And I was like, you. And she goes, what? I go, you're here for the She Recovers event, aren't you? And she looked at me, she goes, how did you know? I was like, you just I'm like, so how are you? Like, what brings you here? And it was just, that was how it started. And then we looked behind us, there was a double rainbow. And it was just,
oh my God,
magical. Like, that's how we started. And like, it was absolutely beautiful, because it's something truly sacred when you can connect with 21 women. Mm-hmm. And all of you come from different backgrounds. And
did any of you know each other before?
Some people knew each other. I knew people like on a very I kind of knew them, you know, but only a few. The majority of the people I didn't know. Like, I was walking in totally blind. I didn't even know my roommate. Okay.
Wow.
Like, I had I was just walking in going, okay, universe, guide me. What am I supposed to be here for? And the universe said to be. And so that's what I was. I was just to be and to listen and to serve. And there were such deep, potent, beautiful conversations. And like, you know, those conversations that you have in the beach while like the ocean water is rushing up against you, and you're having those conversations that in a typical relationship, it would take you 10 years to have.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. When you're talking to somebody who is a woman in recovery, or a woman who is committed to her self-growth, and you can just really connect with her on a deep level and skip the bullshit, like that's the power. It was unlike anything else. It was magical and miracles and just incredible. And we laughed and we joked. And
it's so amazing.
Yes.
So amazing. And you touched on something there that I would like to dive a little deeper into, is the ability to go deeper in relationships, because sometimes people think that it takes time to build a relationship. It takes time to foster the intimacy or the deepness, which isn't true at all.
No.
Because we have the exact same experience here. I was telling Jen that we've met so many amazing, we've only been down here 3 days, and already the miraculous connections and the ability to go deep into, like, not just surface, like, how's the weather? Where are you from? What do you do? Like, not the surface, go deep and really have some meaningful conversations. I believe that that's possible when you have a lot of self-awareness, and when you've maybe walked a path or a journey that you've done your healing, you've done some growth. Can you speak into that a little bit about the deepness?
And I really think, and that I think is one of the beautiful parts when you're talking about like sacred femininity, sacred sexuality. When you're doing this work, it's very important that you're honest, open, and willing. And to be honest, open, and willing, it's not just with a romantic partner, because I truly believe is how you do one thing is how you do everything. And so if I can't open up to my sisterhood community, how am I supposed to open up to my romantic partner? Like, it's not going to, right? So these deep conversations, it's let's skip to the good part. You know, those songs on the reels, right? That they're like, let's skip to the good part. Cause it's just like, look, I'm here to like dive in and really connect, get to know you. But and you know this, those relationships where it's like you go deep really fast and they're toxic.
Right.
This is different. And so I just want to say that for your listeners, for your audience, there's a difference between a toxic relationship where you go deep super fast and they're like love bombing, you're attached and all of that, versus this where you're like listening, you're surrendering, you're curious, you're not planning what you're going to say while they're talking. You're truly just being and you're receiving and you're just allowing there to be this flow and this intimacy. Remember, there's 4 parts of intimacy. We have mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical. And so physical can be rubbing someone's back. Physical isn't just sex. Okay.
Exactly.
So all these parts of intimacy, this is truly deeply connecting and making it not about you, which is very codependent. It's, oh my God, what are they going to think about me? What are they going to say? And it's going, no, I'm here to connect and I'm here to serve. So how are you doing? And it's truly making it not about you anymore. And when you do that, you can connect to somebody in a deep, intimate way because you're not making it about you. You're making it about the bigger picture, right? The universe, the ripple effect that we have when we connect with another human.
I love that you bring this up because I feel like there's a redefinition requirement now at this point regarding intimacy, because the old way would have been intimacy only meant having sex with somebody and that's it, right? Now we're discovering and seeing that intimacy is having a moment, sharing a moment, right? And I love that you bring this forward about even just a touch, like an intimate touch or an intimate something else, right? And I think that that's so powerful for people to know, because I think sometimes if people have stuff that they're moving through or healing through or things from their past that are shadow, that can stop intimacy, right? It can stop them from connecting. And sometimes I think people think that I eventually want to get to the place where I can have this physical intimacy. I want to be able to be in that space with a partner. And yet it seems very scary or really big, or it seems like a really big jump to get there. And so I love that you bring up the intimacy around mind and emotions and the other pieces as well. Can you speak a little bit more deeply into that? And what could that look like for somebody to help them get to where they do feel safe or they do feel comfortable in their own body, obviously first, so that they can connect to others?
Oh, I love that so much. And I also want to touch on the fact for anybody who has been through infidelity or affairs, it doesn't usually happen like they just jump into bed together and it happens. That's not the typical way. It usually starts off with an emotional affair, which leads to a romantic and a sexual affair.
Right.
Because true intimacy, you're connecting intimacy into me. You're seeing into them. Yeah. You're not trying to change them. You're not trying to fix them, right? So like that is truly, and it all starts, and you're not going to be surprised by this response. It all starts by us connecting with ourselves every day, getting to know when I was at my deepest rock bottom and really saw 4 years sober, husband drains the bank account, walks out, files for divorce years before a 1-year wedding anniversary. And here I am totally stripped away. And I'm like, oh my God, people are now going to see that I failed and that like something's wrong with me. Yeah. Like I was just like, I can't hide anymore. I can't put the mask on. I can't look like I was a dressed up trash can like all day. Like I made sure that I looked good. But like we all know when somebody looks good, it doesn't mean that they feel good. Yeah. Right. And so it was truly taking that time to get to know me, right? It's as simple as what paint color do I like? What throw pillows do I want on the bed? Like, and somebody may be like, oh my God, that's so surface. It's not. Because when you're constantly running from yourself, seeking validation from other people, you will never be able, and I know never is a strong word, you will never be able to have a truly deep, intimate relationship. Because you're not vocalizing what you like and what you don't like. You have no self-awareness of who you are and why you're in this world. And so to have beautiful sisterhood connections, intimate relationships, to do that, it's very, very vital that we come back home to ourselves. We strip away all the stuff that we're using to hide and cover up, and we set ourselves free by truly being our unapologetic selves, by truly showing up in this world and being like, this is who I am, this is what I'm here for. And I know that you may not resonate, and I'm okay with that. And we move anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's interesting. Gabriel and I were just talking about this in terms of intimacy. And I said, you know, out of all the people that I've talked to and clients that I've talked to, most of the affairs, like you said, started, they either worked together or they were hanging out together, or there was some sort of mental, emotional connection way before any of the physicality started. So I agree with you. And I think that's such a great example for people who want to restore their own level of intimacy for themselves and maybe with partner, if they have partner in their life, to start to look at that, to how can I become more focused here mentally and emotionally? How can I be really self-loving here mentally and emotionally to create that connection, right? Because, and I'd love for you to speak into this about the deepening of that connection with self, because I know from your journey as well, a large part of that for you was the reconnection point to you before anything else, before the miraculous life began. Because Jen was just saying, she's like, I can't believe, she's like, there's times where I'm like, oh my God, this is my life, you know? And that gets to happen. And I believe that gets to happen for everyone. And we have to be willing to do some of this deep dive work and shift and heal and allow ourselves to rise, right? So can you speak a little bit more into the physical, emotional reconnection?
Reconnection, it's not pretty. It's uncomfortable. And it was like one of the hardest things that I've ever done in my life, and it was worth it. Like if I could, I am so grateful for that time. So grateful. I mean, and this is what I want to say is when I went through it, I would be crying myself to sleep so much I couldn't get to sleep because I couldn't stop crying. And my mind kept racing so hard. And every time that would happen, and I would just like drop out of the bed, drop on my knees, being like, why? And mind you, to your audience, I stayed sober through this. Like I did not drink. I did not use drugs. And because I knew that it would just get worse. So I was like, I'm having a hard enough time with this. Like,
it, right?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. It does. Yeah. And so it was really being like, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. And everybody has their own limits of that. But it was truly connecting with source on a consistent basis. And so when I would get angry, I would yell, I would punch the bed, I would cry, I would feel the feelings and just be like, but why? But why? And then I would hear something. I would feel called to go on YouTube. I would find the song I needed to hear. I'd be connected with the teacher I needed to be connected with. I would join the program I had to. And it wasn't like all of a sudden, like everything's shifted. It was the one day that I heard God's voice to wake up, do the work, and that I was here to be a teacher and to help women rise. And it was deciding that all I needed to do was hear it that one time. And I shifted and decided. It's that one decision that changes the trajectory of everything. And it's the commitment, it's the consistency. And I woke up and I did it choppy. I did it imperfectly. And I trusted, and I would keep track of the miracles along the way.
Wow.
So every day I wrote miracle lists, I wrote gratitude lists, and I stayed focused on that every day. I had alarms set in my phone to connect with myself.
Yeah.
Because as a high achieving woman that is like, boom, I'm like getting stuff done. And especially in recovery, one of the things in recovery is we want to achieve and get validation, and we want to run from ourselves. Just because you stop drinking doesn't mean like everything's great.
Yeah.
So what it looked like for me was it was really imperfect, and it still is imperfect, but it's not giving up, and it's continuing to connect with source, and it's continuing to listen to those whispers that tell you to go down the aisle at the grocery store, and you do, not because you need anything, not because it makes sense, but because source tells you to. And then all of a sudden you run into somebody you haven't seen in 10 years and you have one of the most beautiful, energizing, incredible conversations. And
exactly.
Yeah.
That's so amazing. I love that. And those are the ripples, right? Like when you have the courage, because it takes courage to do this work. It takes courage to say, you know what, this isn't working. I'm going to make a change. This isn't working. I'm going to take the step. And it oftentimes is not fun and it's messy. And yet when you can say, you know what, it's worth it. And this is one thing that I always say to people, if you can always keep your sights on what would be on the other side of this, right? Like if I got to the other side of this and I moved myself through this, and on the other side, we all have it on the other side of something, whether it be conflict. Well, what would be on the other side of the conflict? If it's, a crazy tumultuous situation, what's on the other side of that? There's always resolution. And so when we know that, that becomes almost like it pulls us. It's the vision that pulls us through all of it, so that no matter what, and no matter how hard it is or how hard it gets, there's such a conviction within self. There's such a dedication within self to say, you know what, I'm worth it. And I'm going to take that step. And so I would love for you to share. So when you were writing gratitude and writing your miracle list, did you have this feeling or sense? Were you able to get to that space of saying like, I am worth it. Like I'm worth this growth. I'm worth this transformation.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And I actually just talked with my coach that I hired years ago. So I moved back in with my parents and lived in the room above the garage because I wanted to pay a mortgage payment to a private coach so that I didn't repeat these patterns and do the energetic work, right? So when I did this, and there was one of these sessions that came out, and she does Psych K and tuning fork therapy. And what came out in it was, here I am, by the way, in my car, in my Ford Focus, red Ford Focus, 7:30, 8 o'clock at night in the Kroger parking lot on my cell phone. That is how I did this work with my coach that I was paying, because I didn't want to do it in my parents' house. I didn't want anybody else listening. And I wanted to be able to fully, so like, it wasn't this glamorous, like, here I am, have this great setup, I'm on my computer. Like, no, I was like curled up in a ball half the time, like crying. So that's what it looked like, right? But one of these sessions that came out was that I realized that I felt that I wasn't lovable.
Right.
And that was a turning point of like opening that up. And to so many other people, they would be like, me looking back on it now, I'm just like, it was so obvious. But I didn't want to see it. And so once I saw it and once I unpacked it, then I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so worth it. I'm so amazing. And if it doesn't work out with my husband, who I was going through a divorce with, and because intuitively I was like, we're meant to be together, but if we're not, that means that God has somebody even more amazing in store for me. Like, how amazing is that? Like, Tara, when you think about that and you're like, oh my gosh, if my plan doesn't work out, then a more amazing plan works out. Exactly. And I'm so worth it. And I'm so incredible. And I know that I'm an awesome person. Messiness, sexiness, all of the success and all of the failures combined, I'm worth it. Yes. And I know that. And so when you walk with that sense of just knowing that, like, you are incredible, all of the darkness and all of the light combined. And if it's not with that person, it's going to be with somebody else. But also I want to say, what I would do is I knew that I was meant for romance. And so what I would actually do is when I was invited to weddings during this time, I would take that as that I was manifesting more love and that it was that much closer. So baby showers, all my friends were having babies. And I would be like, oh my gosh, it's coming closer. So it's celebrate. After I felt the feelings of disappointment that it wasn't me, so I'd feel those feelings, and then I'd shift to celebration and gratitude and be like, oh my gosh, my energetic field of love is just growing. And so it's in those moments that we can really harness and anchor in.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that because it's such a beautiful shift and a switch, right? Because we hear this from clients all the time, right? Where they'll say, because they're feeling sad or they're feeling resentful, that when they see their friends getting married. And I remember going through that too, actually, because I got married later. We had babies later, and all of my friends were already married and babies like 10 years prior. And so I'd go to weddings, and I remember at one point feeling so sad, thinking, I don't know if I'm ever going to meet somebody. Like, maybe I'll just always be going to these weddings solo. And I did a similar flip like that, where I was like, you know what? What if it's exactly that? What if this is just an opportunity for me to get into the vibration of what that would feel like? What would it feel like to be getting married? What would it feel like to be having a baby? So you switch it. And I love that you bring that forward, because it's such an easy thing that anybody can do. Like, whatever resentment somebody has, whatever hang up somebody has, or thinking that it's not for them, this is something I know for sure. All the goodness in the entire universe is for all of us. It's for every single person. And so for someone to say, yeah, I don't know, like I maybe for them, but not for me, that's so not true. That's something you want to like cancel, delete that, and reframe, because the goodness is for everybody. The most exceptional experiences are for everybody. And so what Jen just said about being able to reframe that is so powerful, because instead of walking into the baby shower or the wedding and feeling resentment or feeling less than, you're actually creating a higher vibration and a higher vibrational experience for yourself, where you're saying, I get to have this too. And that's such a powerful message to send out to the universe, because the universe will be like, oh yes, okay, sure you do. And then all of a sudden it closes the gap and it gives you exactly what you desire and what you want, instead of feeling the, oh, like it's not going to happen for me. Right.
Well, and then you also get to show up as a good friend and be there for your friends, to not be like, hey, you can be happy around me. Just because like I'm going through this chapter doesn't mean, right? But the other thing is, I would feel my feelings prior to going.
Absolutely.
I would energetically get myself in alignment. I would call on my support systems, and I would also have support systems on hand, so that if something popped up, if I was triggered, if I was activated in the middle, I would walk into the bathroom instead of making the whole party about me.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
And I would just walk in the bathroom subtly for like 60 seconds. I would let it out, and I would shift my energy so I could come back out and be a part of the group, not make everybody like, oh my God, what's going, And I think that is one of the most powerful things, is truly seeing that we are all one, and we're a collective, and we're connected, and that when we make things about us, we're disconnecting, we're tapping into ego. And how can we harmonize? How can we? We can't. You can't, right?
No. And the thing is that it's so, like you said, it's so interconnected that, let's say if you didn't do that, and even if you were like, put on the happy face, you're like, no, I'm good, I'm fine, I'm just fine. People feel energy. People know when you're off. And then all of a sudden it's like everybody, and then what happens is, it's like, they call it negative attention, right? So then all of a sudden you're feeling like crap, but you've got the smile on your face, but people are feeling it. And then people are like, what's wrong? Are you okay? And then all of a sudden somebody gets this attention, which isn't the type of attention that someone would really want. But oftentimes when, like you said, go to the bathroom, create a shift, quickly clear something, you're changing your field again. You walk back into it and you're authentic. You're not just putting the painted on smile. You're authentically, I genuinely am happy for this situation and for whatever's here. And then you can show up even more powerfully. And the ripples, right? The waves that go out from there, then the response that comes back is authentic and harmonized and beautiful. And you actually might even meet the love of your life, because you're in vibrational alignment.
Yes, exactly. And that's totally what it is. And you know what? I did the painting the face, the toxic positivity in high school. I was the girl who was homecoming princess my sophomore year. I looked great. And everybody was like, oh my gosh, Jen. Well, I was bulimic.
Wow.
And I was also suicidal. I went to the psychiatric ER. I was arrested for shoplifting, all these things, right? So you look at it and I was a disaster. But everybody thought I was one of the happiest people in the class.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, I like messed up my knee drinking. So it's just like, I've learned that it doesn't work. The stuff's going to come out sideways and it's going to impact lots of people. When in fact, if I choose to really take radical responsibility, acknowledge it, allow the feelings, it only takes 90 seconds for feelings to flow through our body.
No, I know. It's so fast. Yeah. That's what I say to my clients all the time. I'm like, it's very quick. I'm like, time yourself. It's very fast.
Yeah. But it's when we attach the feeling to the story that loop and then that energetic like stuckness, right? So it's just like, I think after doing this for a while and dropping the balls to I was just like, you know what, this isn't worth it. Like I can. And somebody asked me recently, they're like, so have you always been this confident? And I just like laughed. And I was like, and it was in Mexico. And I had done like my own solo photo shoot on the beach. And I was like, that photo shoot I just did? And she goes, yeah. I go, so in my head, I was like, oh my God, people are going to think stuff about me. People are going to gossip. Oh my gosh, people are going to judge. Oh my gosh, should I do this? So for like 60 seconds, I was going through this, like, I want to be a part of, I want to be like the same. And I was like, no. And I was uncomfortable, but I did it anyways, because I knew that one, photo shoots for me are very just like freeing and flowing and allow for me to connect with my body and take up space and just be me and truly just connect with myself. But also I was like, look at the water. Like, this is like beautiful. Look at these palm trees in the sun. And so I was like, I'm not going to let myself get in the way. She goes, wow, I just, so often we look at people and we're like, oh, they're so confident. They must not have any of those issues or their mindset must be so on tact. So for a while, I'm sure you've heard this before. Oh, so you just don't have to deal with that stuff anymore.
Always, there's stuff out every day. Every day there's stuff that comes, but it's your ability to move through it. Just like you said, to be able to see a bigger picture in it all and not let that shadow voice stop you from doing something that could be really fun. I had the same thought this morning. I haven't done yoga outside. Well, I haven't done yoga in months because it's been like full on winter, 4.5 feet of snow up to my thigh. And so to get up early in the morning and put my snow gear on, to walk down to our studio office, to do yoga, which usually it's cold down there right now. It just was not my ideal situation. Yeah. But because of that pattern, this morning I got up and I had this big desire. I was like, I really want to go. There's the little private beach that's there. I want to go down. It's early. No one's down. No one's on the pool. I just want to be there right now. And I had this moment of hesitation because I was like, everybody can see you. And what are they going to think? And what if they're all staring at you doing yoga? And what if they're judging you while you're doing yoga? And oh, by the way, Tara, you haven't done yoga in months now. So like, what if you're not as flexible? Or what if you don't do this? And I'm like, oh my God, like I'm literally listening to this, right? And I'm like, oh my God. I go, forget that. I was like, clear. I go, I'm going down to do yoga. But there's that split moment. And I think many of us have that where we want to stretch ourselves. We want to grow into the next version of ourselves or a relationship or whatever it is. And there will be these shadow voices that pull us back. It's up to us. Can we be strong in that moment? Have some tools to clear that, reframe within the 90 seconds, like Jen was just saying, refocus for 90 seconds, and then say, you know what? I'm going to do it anyways. Because again, it's like, what's the pull? I know how good I'm going to feel after. Just like Jen saying, she knows how great she's going to feel when she's like, oh my gosh, I maximize the beauty of this ocean and the palm trees. And whether there's a photographer here or not, I don't got time to go look for a photographer and hire one that'll probably be booked out for the next month. I'm going to do this right now. And I'm going to maximize this now. That's the power of being able to capture each moment. And every single time we do, there's such an incredible expansion that happens within us because one, we don't feel like we're missing out on anything. Two, we're creating our own experience. And three, you feel so freaking good afterwards that you're like, I would totally do that again. I would do it all over again. And then you inspire other people.
Oh, funny story. So I did a walking Joe Dispenza meditation while in Mexico on the beach. It was a 90-minute one. It was amazing. So we walked down the beach as a group of 4 of us. And like, I was like, I just felt this movement come through me of like, just to dance. I was just in such like this high, and I was just like, and there was a split second of like, what are these people at this resort who are drinking? Like it was like the all-inclusive, like they all have tons of drinks at their, and I was like, screw it. And so I just started like floating and twirling and splashing in the water. And like, I just stayed in my own little space. And you know what? Like, who cares? Now, funny story. Yesterday, I did that meditation in Michigan in the snow. It was kind of snowy, but I walked, and in the meditation, you're supposed to like stop and really anchor into the love, the vibrations, and like really just take it to that next dimension. Yeah. And while I was doing that, and I like paused on the sidewalk and I'm like anchoring in, just surrendering into my heartbeat. In the moment, I was like, somebody's going to think something's wrong with me. Like school's getting out there. I'm doing it on a busy road. Like I'm the person on the side of the road, just like twirling, connecting with my heart rate. And lo and behold, my neighbor calls me and I answer the phone. She goes, Jen, are you okay? And I was like laughing. She goes, what? I was like, I'm doing a walking meditation and I'm connecting with the cosmos right now. And she's just like, oh my gosh, Jen, it looked like you were having a heart attack. And I was like, well, thank you for caring. I appreciate that you care. But like, I'm doing amazing. It was great. It was great. Right. So like, we had a good laugh. And then I went back to anchor into my next dimension and just like totally like, yeah. And she wasn't fazed by it. She's like, of course, that's what you're doing. Right?
Exactly. But isn't that, it's so freeing, like hearing that, it's so freeing to be able to live like that and to cultivate that courage, because I think a lot of people have this conversation with themselves and with other people. We hear it a lot where people ask the question, like, how do I become more courageous? How do I become courageous to start my business or to jump into this next phase of the relationship or to become a mom or to leave a relationship or to move across country? Like there's so many moments in our life where you will need courage. And courage is one of those things that you can't create courage just by sitting still and just being like, I'm going to sit here and create courage. You have to take a step. You have to actually do something different outside of the normal, outside of what you think, and take a step in a completely different direction. And yes, it feels freaking uncomfortable when you're doing it, but the rush afterwards, the beauty afterwards, it's like, right? Oh my God, the creativity and inspiration was just like bursting from me. I couldn't wait to get home and grab my journal. Like I was just like, oh, it feels so good. But you know, a client of mine, we had this conversation too, because it was a similar question, right? Like, okay, so how do you, and I'm like, okay, the only difference between, and I'm sure you'll say, between a beginner and a leader is they moved more than you, they took more action, and they failed more than you. Yeah. That is the only difference. We're all the same. We're all equal. The only thing that got them to where they are today is taking action, imperfect action, and failing a ton. Yeah. And still 100%. Showing up. That's it. 100%. That's it. I agree with you. Yeah. And anything else that you feel called to share with the community in terms of harmonizing, allowing ourselves to come into that harmonized space, whether it be for our healing or relationships, even with self, anything that you feel that wants to stream through in this moment? I love that question. And what I feel really called to share is really one of the things that I still do to this day is to inventory what's working and what's not. And then take action accordingly. So really look at like, how are your relationships serving you? Do you leave conversations with friends energized and excited and inspired and creative? Or are you just like trying to be that lower calibration of yourself, that old you, because you don't want to let go of somebody? Really being honest with yourself. And then also looking at the clutter in your house, the mess in your house, what you're holding on to, the objects, and to really take an introspective look of, how often are you connecting with your body? Have you looked at your vulva? Have you loved on her? What does your self-pleasure practice look like? What does your shower routine look like? When you're in the shower, do you love on your body? Do you hate on your body? Like really looking at all of this and being like, okay, there are things that you can release and there are things that you can anchor more deeply into. But it all starts with taking radical responsibility and then also taking action when
there's a lot of people who, one, they're not going to validate the action you take, which was really hard for me when I wanted like an award. I was like, hey, like I've graduated with honors, I've done all this stuff, and you get achievement awards, right? You hit top in sales. They give you like, I've won like smokers, like these elaborate smokers for being top in sales in a company. Like, but when somebody does this work, somebody doesn't come to you and be like, let's have a celebration party. You're top in this, you're this.
That's
So it's really like knowing that like that stuff doesn't matter. And that energetically you doing the work, you are helping the planet heal, and you are harmonizing the collective. And so when you're tuning like a piano, when you're tuning something, when you're tuning a guitar, you're tuning that so that it like can have a vibrational impact on this world. So when you're retuning yourself and recalibrating, one, this work will never end. So when that thing that you want, you manifest into your life, if you become stagnant and you're like, okay, I got the thing, I'm done. I've been there, I've done that. Your life will get plain as oatmeal and blah. And let me just tell you right now, I've done it more than once. And it's just like, it's all about, it's not about getting to the top of the mountain. It's about the journey and continuing the expansion, right? So it's truly knowing that it's not just possible, like it's your birthright, and you are listening to this conversation for a reason. And just look and say, what's one action I can take that takes 60 seconds, and do that one action today, and then do another action tomorrow, and it all builds up.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I love that so much. It's such a joy to have you here, and I love having conversations with you. It's so freeing and expansive and beautiful and loving and heart-filled and joyful. It's like big energy and so much love and smiles. I just feel so great right now. And I hope all of you feel great too. And Jen, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you? And what have you got going on right now?
Yeah, just contact me on Facebook, on Instagram. And right now, I'm a real person. So like, if you feel called and aligned to, reach out to me. Our last conversation, there was a woman who just connected with yesterday who was like, I heard your talk with Tara and I felt called, like, thanks for accepting my friend request. And I was like, of course. So like, I love connecting with people. So reach out. I want to hear, what are you working on? What are you manifesting? What is it with like your sexuality, your romantic life, your love life, your relationships? What are you looking to expand? Like share, like I'm a person, like share them with me. I want to celebrate them with you. I want to get to know you. And right now what I have going on is the one-on-one work, 3-hour immersives, VIP days, all the things. So yeah. And then there's other things on the horizon in the works, some collaborations that I'm super excited about to share in the future. So lots of good stuff.
So exciting, always, because she's a woman of constant creation. She's not going to let herself get bored or stale. She's just going to be riding these beautiful waves and creating infinitely.
Thank you.
So good. Thank you so much, Jen, for being here. We love you and appreciate you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been such a gift and treasure, and I just adore you. And yet again, my cheeks are just like bursting with joy. I love it. Every time I know that I'll leave a conversation with you, because I've been like smiling and like beaming, and I'm like, so thank you so much for having me. Yes.
Thank you so much, honey. And thank you everyone for tuning in. We'll talk to you again really soon.
Thank you so much for joining us today on another episode of the Rising Consciousness Show. For more high vibration conversations, meditations, energy activations, and tips and tools on creating your most exceptional life, we lovingly invite you to connect with us at academyoflight.ca. The website is www.academyoflight.ca. It is time to create your heaven on earth experience, and we look forward to sharing this beautiful journey with you.
You're listening to Rising Consciousness. Yeah.
Woo!
Woo!